now there may be a major fight brewing with Mexico over trade NAFTA.
Mexico is proposing sweeping tariff hikes, raising duties on automobiles from China and several Asian countries to 50%.
What if I were to tell you that one country surpasses China as America's largest trading partner, quietly, without its even being noticed? And that this newcomer is perhaps destined, rather than overtaking America militarily, to bring it to its knees economically? This is not some far-flung prophecy. It's already happening now, and the country doing it may surprise you. We're talking about Mexico. Even as the world has been riveted by the United States-China trade war, Mexico has managed one of the most extraordinary economic transformations of the 21st century. By 2025, Mexico is no longer only the neighbor of America. It is simultaneously both the United States' most vital economic competitor and partner. But now, here's the surprise reversal that no one saw coming. Mexico is flipping China's own script against both superpowers, and it's working. To grasp how revolutionary the shift is, just keep in mind the numbers that will blow your mind. In 2025, United States imports from Mexico totaled about $219.5 billion, far exceeding those from China of $148.5 billion. No, that is not a typo. Mexico is now America's largest trading partner. But wait, there's more. Just in the first 8 months of 2024, trade between the United States and Mexico exceeded $632 billion, with United States-China trade barely surpassing $437 billion. This is a seismic shift that has been a long time coming, but 2024 and 2025 have broken the dam. Mexico has actually been the #1 trading partner for America for 20 months in a row, and that's going up, not down. The great manufacturing migration siesta. So how did this happen? It began with what economists called nearshoring, the shift of manufacturing operations closer to home markets. As the United States-China trade war escalated, and tariffs of as much as 145% on Chinese goods went into effect in 2025, companies had a stark choice: pay punishing tariffs or pivot to other sources for their products. Mexico became the perfect solution. Here's why. First, labor costs. Average manufacturing wages in Mexico are $4.90 per hour versus $6.50 in China, a 25% savings on a per-worker basis. But it isn't just cost. In manufacturing, geography is king, and Mexico has one unbeatable advantage: proximity to the United States. It takes weeks to ship from China to the United States. It takes days to ship from Mexico. This closeness would prove invaluable during the pandemic, when Asian shipping costs skyrocketed and supply chains fell apart. Companies could still keep just-in-time manufacturing while avoiding the vulnerability of Pacific Ocean shipping lanes. Yeah, but here's the real twist: Mexico isn't drawing only American companies. Chinese manufacturers are moving to Mexico to avoid United States tariffs as well. China's foreign direct investment into Mexico is now 4 times what it was a decade ago, increasing at an average of approximately $225 million each year. The USMCA advantage Mexico's ace in the hole is not geography or labor costs. It's the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, better known as USMCA. This trade agreement, which replaced NAFTA this year, provides Mexico with unprecedented access to the American market. Goods produced in Mexico that are in compliance with USMCA requirements are now imported from Mexico duty-free. That's a huge advantage when Chinese goods are subject to tariffs of 25% or more. But here's the genius part. Nearly 40% of Mexican goods on their way to the United States actually include American-made component parts and services. This is a win-win, as Mexican manufacturing allows United States suppliers to sell finished goods at competitive prices. The automotive sector is a prime example of this fusion. Mexican car and auto parts exports are booming, with nearly every American automaker reliant on Mexican parts. When you purchase a Ford or GM automobile in the United States, you can bet that many of its major components were made in Mexico and produced with American materials. China's backdoor and rear gate illusions. But here is where the story gets interesting. China doesn't only face the loss of manufacturing to Mexico, it's also transshipping to the United States through Mexico. Container trade from China to Mexico surged 26.2% in the first 7 months of 2024, over a 33% increase in 2023. Chinese firms are creating industrial parks in Mexico to receive Chinese manufacturers as well. These companies import parts from China, finish assembling in Mexico, and then ship to the United States under the terms of USMCA. It's a clever way for Chinese manufacturers to dodge United States tariffs while retaining access to the American consumer. That has given rise to a complicated three-way relationship where Mexico extracts gains in Chinese investment and toehold in lucrative segments of the American market, potentially pitting the economic interests of both superpowers against one another. Mexico's economic makeover. The statistics behind Mexico's ascent are stark. Manufacturing now makes up 40% of Mexico's entire economy and has been growing at 5.2% annually, more than double the previous decade's average of 2.3%. Foreign direct investment in Mexico totaled $36 billion in 2023, 27% more than the year before. By mid-2024, the number had skyrocketed to $31 billion, according to new records. But it isn't just about assembly and low-value manufacturing any longer. Mexico is emerging as a key player in advanced technology sales. In 2025, Mexico will surpass China as the leading source of advanced technology imports, including electronics, computers, and telecommunications equipment to the United States. That is certainly a far cry from the way Mexico has functioned in the past, largely as an exporter of agricultural goods and low-tech manufacturing. Where that growth is concentrated geographically is telling. Construction has started on a United States plant in the high-tech manufacturing region in Nuevo León, another in Baja California, and a third in Ciudad Juarez. Baja California has a medical device corridor, manufacturing FDA-certified implants, while Ciudad Juarez sends more than $22 billion annually in data processing machines, virtually all of it to the United States. The challenge to both superpowers. Now, here's why you should care about that for the global balance of power. Mexico is not only benefiting from United States-China tensions, but is also challenging the economic supremacy of both countries in its own way. For China, Mexico competes directly for the United States market, the world's biggest consumer economy. Every dollar in American imports from Mexico is potentially a dollar not spent on Chinese goods. In the case of the United States, Mexico's ascent makes for a more complicated picture. Just as they do advantageous for being linked to a providing neighbor, United States, but the growing economic sophistication and independence in Mexico might offer a challenge to American regional power. Mexico currently has a total of 13 free trade agreements with 50 countries, establishing alternative economic relationships that help reduce dependency on the United States. The recent tariff tensions in early 2025, when the United States threatened that beginning on June 10, 2030, it would impose 25% tariffs on Mexican goods that did not adhere to USMCA, revealed this tension. The economy of Mexico was not seriously dented, and the fast resolution showed that Mexico had a bigger leverage. Future implications. Going forward, analysts forecast that nearshoring could add nearly 2% to Mexico's GDP in the coming years. This is not about building an economic model with high growth rate, but a means by which Mexico becomes a small yet relevant power in an increasingly disintegrate global economy. The issue is not if Mexico will continue to grow, but how its growth will revamp North American, even global economics. Mexico is demonstrating that in an age of trade wars and supply chain disruption, geography and smart policy can trump mere economic size. But Mexico's ascendance is not without challenges. The country has infrastructure bottlenecks, energy reliability problems, and must produce more skilled workers to enable high-tech manufacturing. The administration of President Claudia Sheinbaum acknowledges these hurdles and is enacting policies that aim to tackle them, from higher investment in alternative energies to workforce development programs. Just the automotive industry, to take one guy, shows what a resource Mexico is. Companies including Tesla, BMW, Ford, and even Chinese automaker BYD have announced ambitious expansion plans in Mexico. This is not just about assembly plants. It is about building integrated ecosystems that blend design, manufacturing, and logistics in ways that directly challenge both American and Chinese capabilities. Amid the United States-China strategic rivalry, Mexico has become an essential third piece that both superpowers rely on but can't fully control. And that could be the smartest strategy of all.